Do not let the warm weather we've had here recently fool you. A blast of Arctic air is on the way, and it is set to bring in sub-zero wind chill values to some, and snow is going to spread out to millions across the South, into the Midwest, into the Northeast, from North Carolina through Kentucky into Ohio, parts of Illinois, into New York and Pennsylvania. This is about to be a big-time snow that's going to impact millions, along with some serious wind and cold air that we just have not seen in a long time. In fact, that cold air stretches as far south as Florida. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. Please let me know where in the world you're watching from right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications, as I will promise to keep you posted around the clock to this weather event and more to come this winter, because it is about to get very active. Let me start by showing you the fronts. Above me, you'll see some cities and some highlights over the coldest days, the warmest days, and kind of where we're at right now, which is not so bad. But Friday into Saturday, we've got a front that is going to begin to move east. That one brings a little bit of rain. It is not the first front that's going to be the cold one. That second one comes through Saturday night into Sunday, and that one is the one that begins to send in some snow flying around from North Carolina to Tennessee, through West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, parts of Michigan, starting to get some big-time snow piling on up. Eastern Wisconsin. You get into parts of Indiana, it's going to be snow and could be enough to cover the ground in many areas. I think this event actually doubles down as we go into Monday morning. The cold front has pushed all the way off the eastern seaboard. It is cold just about anywhere you are. In fact, Florida is about to experience wind chill values in the 20s and the 30s, depending on where you are, even as far south as Miami. It's going to be coat-worthy weather. Now, this is going to break out some snow, as you see here, across the Appalachian Mountains, up through Michigan, into Ohio, Indiana, back through New York and Pennsylvania, seeing some pretty decent snow. I'll get into totals in just a moment, because as we move through Tuesday, this thing really means business, and it's going to be a prolonged cool blast that starts, say, Monday and continues through about Wednesday before it lets up late next week. And it's all from a piece of the polar vortex dipping down and breaking off into our area. And look at that dip in the jet stream. Anytime you see something that pronounced, that deep, it means business. And it is going to seriously send in some of the coldest air that we've had in a very, very long time, making for a very windy, cold forecast. Let's get right to the details. I want to show you the very latest computer model for timing here. Remember, that first front brings us rain Friday night. It's a quick hit of some downpours, but it doesn't bring in the cold air behind it. That comes from the secondary front, which is the polar one, and that comes through Saturday night into Sunday. When you wake up Sunday, there's some rain around some areas here, and then Sunday afternoon that front has pushed through, and here comes that cold air. Snow is breaking out back through parts of Indiana. Ohio is beginning to get some snow Sunday afternoon into the evening hours, and that is now starting to stretch deep into western North Carolina. You see the transport, the origin region is from the Great Lakes, coming on down, sending in the moisture, brought to you by that cold air, slinging it in. This is going to bring in some widespread snow that begins, I think, for you folks in Ohio and Indiana, probably Sunday afternoon, and then continuing earnestly into Sunday night. Now it continues to be heavy at times through parts of southern Ohio, into Kentucky, into West Virginia, and in western North Carolina through a good bit of Monday as that system pivots over those areas. This could be a record-breaking cold day for Asheville, Nashville, Knoxville, in through Kentucky, West Virginia, and I think we're going to see some pretty good snow totals. If you look back at some of the old records of this, it coincides with active snow on the ground. For us to be this cold in early November, it usually comes with some kind of snow, and I do think so many of you are going to see snow. So please let me know where you're watching from. Folks, my whole spiel with doing weather here is to be transparent. I'm going to tell you first, I'm going to tell you very transparently, though, about what I know and, more importantly, what I do not know. And what I do know right now is that many of you are going to see snow watching right now, and I do think it's going to be a nice coating on the ground. Let's look closer at some of those totals, because I showed you the timing. The totals here look to be on the order of about 1 to 3 inches in western North Carolina, but those pinks here indicate totals that are above 8 inches. So you're going to see pockets of 8 inches here from West Virginia to western North Carolina, into parts of Kentucky, 1 to 3 inches covering the ground. Southern Ohio, we're talking about 1 to 4 inches likely, with pockets here in the purple indicating closer to 5, 6, 7 inches. You get in those pinks here. Those are pockets of Some areas getting closer to 10. Parts of Indiana, same story. We're talking about 1 to 3, maybe even 5 inches. But there's a swath here coming off the Great Lakes here that are going to really feed in a batch of some heavier moisture here that's really going to make things quite potent here in some areas that could lead to pockets of 8, 9, 10 inches of snow for parts of Indiana. Now let's get in closer to western North Carolina. I do think there's going to be some pretty hefty totals here. Asheville could get a dusting to as much as a half an inch, but you get up here into ski country, we're talking about 4 to 5, maybe even 6 inches. But this pocket of 4,500 feet, this is a prime spot for northwest flow snow. It's going to lead to 8+ inches. I think there's going to be some crazy numbers here. Those pinks indicate 12+ inches. I would not be surprised if some areas get 10 or more in pockets of western North Carolina above 4,500 feet in elevation. Now, the GFS is doing its best here. It's not great. It's definitely skewing the blend of the models because it's significantly drier. But it does show Saturday night some snow breaking out in Michigan and then scooping toward the south here as we go into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Similar timing. It just doesn't have as much. It's more dry. But you see here there's snow in Indiana. There's snow in Ohio. It's just not as much as its European counterpart. New York through Pennsylvania, you begin to get snow Sunday night, Monday night. Even on the GFS model, it's not showing a whole lot. It's got a dusting to an inch in western North Carolina. It's got minimal amounts here through the Midwest. I think the GFS is a little bit of an outlier here, especially when you blend all the other models together. What they all agree on here is how windy and just brutally cold it's going to be. It's going to be about 30, 40 mile per hour winds as this moves through. And let's look at what that apparent wind chill temperature is going to be, what it's actually going to feel like. Well, Sunday, we start off near 70 degrees in so many areas of the south, but look at this polar air. Arctic air here from 67 in Asheville to 17 in the Midwest for feels like, yeah, that thing is moving in. And by 8 p.m., the West North Carolina mountains plummet into a whole different season. And that could lead to a few storms in some areas. I don't think we're widespread going to get severe weather on Saturday, Sunday, but there are storms lining up for Friday that could be supercellular in detail, which I'll show you in just a moment. But here we are with teens, 20s, 30s showing up, and this thing really means business as it marches off toward the east. And those feels like temperatures bottom out on Tuesday morning here into some sub-zero levels. I think 13 at Beach Mountain, but there are pockets here above 5,000 feet that I've seen that are -3, -4 on the European model. But nonetheless, the entire East Coast, including Florida, down into the 20s and 30s. 20s for the Panhandle, 30 or so for Central Florida. Even Miami, some of the models I've seen, like the European model, want to paint Miami at 38, 39 for a feels like temperature. Now, this does come with some storm risks. Now, anytime you separate a system like this, you're going to get severe weather. And as we go into our time frame here for Friday, I'm afraid we have not only severe weather, but the possibility of tornadoes here across Tennessee down through Alabama. And we're going to have to watch that very closely here because our models that paint this possibility are showing that we need to watch it closely here. So let's get into some of this action as we map out our high-resolution models. They give us a good idea of what's going to happen and when, and give us an idea of who's going to see what risk. So let's start first with the NAM model as we move into Thursday night, Friday's time frame. Here we are Friday afternoon. This front that is moving through, it means business, and there could be some supercellular activity that's out ahead of this line, and as it moves into the overnight hours, it's trying to dry out into Saturday. So that time frame for severe weather, according to this NAM model, is going to be a window of about Friday afternoon here where that storm energy surges toward the north. Now, the high-resolution model is not buying in on as much in the way of storm fuel. As we look closer at the European, it's got enough here, 700, 800 for a low cape, high shear environment here with the deep low pressure system bringing in that cold air. We've got a clash nonetheless, and this could lead to severe weather here across Tennessee into Alabama Friday night. So we'll have to watch that very closely for you folks, as you could at least have some stronger storms in those areas. And the time frame looks to be mainly Friday afternoon and evening. And I can't rule out a rumble or two of thunder into Friday night for upstate South Carolina, Atlanta, Charlotte, as that front breezes on through. it could certainly put down some heavy rain, and you may even hear some thunder out of it. So folks, please in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from tonight. When I do another update, I'll be sure to give you a shout out, let you know where your cities are representing from. And if you have any questions for me about your specific town or anything about weather that you'd like to know, please drop it in the comment section as well. Folks, my whole thing is to give you an early warning of any kind of severe weather, whether it be tornadoes, snowstorms, or hurricanes. Please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button if you don't already. I'd love to have you on the channel here, as I love weather and I love sharing it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll continue to keep you posted.